Okay, well, hey guys, sorry, I was just testing this new thing that I put there. So as you saw, today we're working on problems, more problems and equations. They couldn't just let you go. There's always another problem for grade 5 to solve. Anyways, today's idea of the lesson, I'm going to tell you something good. Really good. I don't know how good, but pretty good. Pretty good. We're almost done algebra. Woo! But we go to fractions next. It's okay, guys. I feel you. We'll be okay. We'll make it through it. No, it'll all be fun. It's all fun. So today's idea, because it's like one of the last, lessons, today's idea is to kind of summarize up some of the previous things. You just have in your workbooks, you just kind of have to work with similar questions that you've worked with before. There's a little bit of added complexity today, but the main thing today to learn is that you have to figure out when you're dealing with a difference and when you're dealing with the scale factor. So a few days ago, we talked about difference, and yesterday we talked about scale factor. So what am I talking about here? So do we remember scale factor was like we have to learn how to identify that. So scale, oh, come on, scale factor. There we go. Sorry about my S there. Scale factor. We'll remember that scale factor was kind of like something x many times or more times. So there are 20 times more dogs, or 20 times. So you get like, you'd say like he is 3 times older, or there are 3 times more, or I am twice, so this is one that might catch you, twice as tall as. So these, when we get words like this, times, 3 times, you could say 4 times, 5 times, older, more, bigger, any of those kind of things, or twice as tall, something like that, twice as big, twice as old. If we get any things like that, what we're dealing with is scale factor. Now, the main thing you want to recognize when you're dealing scale factor is that the functions you are going to use are either multiplication or division. Yeah, there we go. So scale factor is all about multiplication and division. Now, the other one is difference. Difference. Yep, we can spell difference. So what's difference? Difference is kind of like, sort of the other one. This one is more, the difference between numbers. So if you had, let's say, 5, you could say 5 is 2 more than 3, and the difference here is 2. So you'll often be dealing with things like he had maybe 10 more, 10 less, 10 fewer, something like that. It'll be words like this: fewer, more, less, greater, greater, bigger. You could even say 10 years older. That would also be a difference instead of a scale factor. When you're dealing with questions like this, what you're actually going to be dealing with is different functions. You're going to be dealing with addition and subtraction. So that's really important to recognize, that you're going to be doing different functions when you encounter this. And so the main reason why we're talking about this is that in some word problems, you're going to be having problems like this. It'll say words, and you have to decide, oh, is this going to be a difference or is this going to be a scale factor? So I'm going to give you a problem quickly. Just going to erase all this. Okay, bam, bam, bam. Okay, so what was my little problem here for you? Okay, so we're going to work with this. So an apple pie. Nope, it's not just an apple. It's an apple and pear pie. Or was it a cake? I don't know. Apple and pear pie. and it has 16 apples and calls for twice as many apples as pears. So, is this question where there is an apple pie calls for 16 apples and twice as many apples as pears? What is going to be the bigger number here in the end? If there are twice as many apples as pears, are there going to be more pears or more apples? Just give you a second to think about this. Twice as many apples as pears. Are there going to be more apples or more pears? Okay, so and then the question would be how many pears? How many pears? So the answer to that is that there are going to be twice as many apples. The apples is going to be your larger number. And if we wanted the smaller one, remember smaller part, and we have the scale, what do we want to do? We want to take the larger part and we want to multiply it or divide it by, oh, come on, come on. I don't want you blurry. Okay, come on, focus up here, please. Thank you. Okay, larger. Do we divide it or multiply it by the scale? Sorry about that, guys. Well, the truth is that we divide it by the scale, and the scale was what? Twice, so it's 2 times. And that's the scale. Sorry, I should have wrote the scale here. And then, so we know the smaller one is unknown. We'll say P because pears start with a P. That works. Larger one is 16, and then we just say divided by 2. Bam shalam. What do we get? 16 divided by 2. Let's think. We're going to get a nice 8. And that is pears equal 8. So there we got it. So the thing is that with this question, we had to figure out 2 things. Is it multiplication and division that we're going to be using? Or is it going to be, well, first we had to figure out, is it subtraction and addition or multiplication and division? And once we saw the twice as many, then we were like, oh yeah, that's definitely some multiplication or division in there. So we could figure that out. And then after that, we were like, okay, do we have the larger number or the smaller number? And we're like, we got the larger one. They gave us the larger because it's 16 and there's more apples than there are pears. So from there, we moved along and we figured out our problem. So now we know if this really poorly written recipe, we ever came upon this, we'd be able to figure it out because we are little math geniuses. Well, I'm not that little, and neither are you guys really, but we're math geniuses is the point. So, excuse me. Okay, so then if we were dealing with a B, I think some of you might be able to know where I'm going with this one. So I'm going to make this easy. Just 50 cars and 10 fewer vans. How many vans? Okay, so we have 50 cars, we have 10 fewer vans. How many vans? Okay, is our are we gonna use multiplication and division to figure this out? 10 fewer vans? Are we gonna divide 50 by 10? No way. We're gonna do, this is definitely subtraction because it's 10 fewer. And we remember we started off this conversation, this video, by saying that if you see a word like fewer or more or greater, pretty much if you don't see times in there, you're probably dealing with addition or subtraction. Now, are there more vans or less vans is the question. So we're looking for V. That's what we're looking for. That's vans. So vans equals something. Now, we have to figure out what we're dealing with. Are there more vans or less vans? Fewer. Well, fewer means less. So this is going to be 50 minus 10, and then we're going to get that. And, what's 50 minus 10? Okay, 40. There we go. Vans, 40 vans. V for victory. We figured out how many vans. Okay, we're on a roll here, so that's really important. So the big idea here is you're going to have to deal with figuring out whether you're using scale or difference. Now I'm just going to jump the gun here, I'm going to pull out your book. You're going to be working on some problems today on pages 18 and 19. I'm on page 40 here. Okay, 18 and 19. Yeah. Oh, well, no. My own. Oh, you know what? That's fine. No, that was just my thing. So I am wrong. Sorry, I had like an exercise here. My bad. I'm wasting your time. That was just something for me. So anyways, the big thing I'm trying to point out here is that you have to figure out whether you're using scale or difference in your questions. So that's important, whether it's scale or difference. Now, then the second big thing is to figure out whether you have the larger part in both of them. If there's scale, you want to figure out if you're dealing with the one that's times greater, or if you're dealing with the smaller part that's smaller. And the same with the addition and subtraction. You want to know whether you have the larger part or the smaller part. And that's why, at the beginning, and I know in the book sometimes you don't have the space, but it's good to write out what you have. So we had the vans, we can say 50 cars. Okay, we have, we don't know, we have a difference of 10 difference. Or you could even say, if you're feeling fancy, you can say minus 10. And then you say, and then for vans, you say V equals vans unknown, right? We don't know what V is. And we can, remember how I showed you earlier that we can kind of start seeing an equation forming here. But that is besides the point. So you make sure you're learning to identify what's the largest part in any question. So, and we have to know the vans were less, and the other one was that the pairs were less. And so what we were thinking is, oh yeah, okay, so the apples are more, and in the other case, the cars were more. So those are the ones you want to look out for. Now, some of the problems we're going to find are going to have multiple steps because they couldn't keep it simple for you. Nope, they're stretching you, and that's good on them because we need you guys to be super smart. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to put a few questions here for you. So this has several steps. So we just say, let's look at this. Cody, Mr. Cody here. He reads, you guys better all be reading, right? You're reading every day. Cody reads 7 books over the holidays. Are these holidays? I don't know. There's something. I'm working. Holidays. But it's a bit of it's like a weird time, isn't it? Kind of half on holiday here. Well, not really. I'm working more, I feel like. But that is beside the point. Reads 3 times as many books, I guess. Books. Okay. So how many more books did Emma read? So now, guys, I want you to look at this for a second. So Cody reads 7 books over the holidays. Emma reads 3 times as many books. So what do we see right there? 3 times as many. That should be like, bing, dee, dee, dee. You should be saying, oh, this is scale. Really scale. Must be scale. But you make sure that you read through the whole question, because it also says, this is a question. How many more books did Emma read? So there's a second step. You have to, because there's also a difference. I don't know. I got a little pop up there. Hope everything's going well. Yeah, anyways, how many more books? So that's a difference. That's a difference. So you want to know how many more than Cody. So first, we're going to have to figure out how many books Emma read before we're going to say how many more. So you have Cody. Is he going to have more or less books? Well, she read 3 times as many. So we're going to know that Cody read less books. So Cody's the smaller part, and we're trying to find the larger part. So the larger part, remember, larger equal smaller times scale. So, and I've minimized the words in there, but yeah, and so what do we have? We have 7 and how many? 3 times. So what would this be? 7 times 3, any takers? Okay, guys, 21. Perfect. I know that's backwards, but the way it looked. So we know that Emma, now we know this. Emma read 21 books. Well, how many more books did she read than Cody? Well, is the 21 the bigger one? We've already said that it's bigger here. So we found the larger one, so we say 21, and how do we figure out the difference? Now we're trying to find the difference. That's what it's asking for. How many more is the difference? So it's not giving us how many more, it's asking us how many more. So what are we going to do? So are we going to add the 7 to the 21, or are we going to subtract? Because we're trying to find the difference. Now, if any of you can think to range, that could maybe help you. We're trying to find the difference. So we're trying to find how much is in between them, basically. How many more she read. So basically, you want to subtract the amount, right? Because you got her amount, which is bigger. You're going to subtract his amount, which is smaller, and then you'll find out the difference in between them. And if we take 21 minus 7, well, minus 7 equals 14. There you guys go. So that's that. And so that's really important that you guys recognize that. Anyway, so the big deal here is that you have to look at the questions really carefully. Sometimes they're going to have both a times part and a difference part built into them, just to make us make sure that we're paying attention, right? And we're thinking hard. And you have to also know which one to do first, and that'll probably depend on which numbers you're missing, which numbers you have. Okay, one last question. Some of your questions, I won't write that. Some of them are going to have remainders. You know when you divide, remember division? You sometimes end up with a remainder. You'll end up with an answer like this. Remainder 2. The question would be, what are we going to do with this? Remainder 2? Huh? What do you do with that when you're adding problems? Well, that depends on the problem. So that is what we're going to look at now. So I'm just going to quickly show you something. So these guys all have different marbles, and they want to share them equally. So Kyle has 12 marbles, 12, and Grace has 16, so she has the most, and Jax, he has, sorry, I'm just going to say he has 10. We ran out of room. I always start, I don't know why, it was because they had those lines when we were kids on the books right there, so you didn't start there. Or making up excuses. Okay, so 12, so we want to see, how do we get these equally? So how are we going to do that? Well, we have to first know how many they have all together. And I think we know how to figure these out. If we how many do we have all together? Are we going to subtract them by each other? No, we're going to add them. So that's just 12 plus 16 plus 10. What does that give us? That gives us 38. Now, we want to divide them. They want to share them equally. So we divide this. How many of them are there? 3. So we divide them by 3, and we're going to get a good old 12. I'm not going to show you all the numbers, but we're going to get 12 remainder 2, right? And you can do this on your own with long division. That would be a great, you'll have to do that for some of your answers, I think, in these pages. And so the question is, what do you do with these extra marbles? So in this case, they want to divide them equally. They've agreed that they're all going to divide them equally, but they have 2 extra marbles. What are they going to do? Well, basically, in this case, they're going to get rid of them. Or they could maybe break the agreement and give them to one of them, or spread them out. Someone can take the hit. But yeah, so maybe these marbles would be gotten rid of, or they would give them to Grace because she had the most. But if you're going to divide them equally, that remainder would be not included. Now, in other situations, say you had some cars. You had, let's just say you had 13 students going into cars that could fit 5 people each. So you had 13 students going to 5 people each. So I'm just going to illustrate this so it's quick. So each car, do you remember my beautiful cars? This car can fit 5 people. So if you had 5 in this one, now you're dealing with 8 people left. Now you take another 5 and you put them in this car. Now you're dealing with 3 people left, right? Now that doesn't fill up a whole car, so you actually would be left with a remainder, right? You basically have a remainder 3. But you're going to probably put another car on the road because you need to have them in there. They need to go, so you'd have another car. This car would hold 5, but you just have 3. So I don't know if you'll bump into a question like that, but you just have to kind of use your mind. It's a bit of analytical thinking. It's not so much about the math. This is kind of taking it and looking analytically at it. Hey, anyways, I'm sorry that video went over 20 minutes. I hope to get better at concising them. Sometimes, I ramble on and chat. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoy these videos and that you're enjoying listening in. Anyways, if you have any suggestions, always let your parents know, or if your parents have any suggestions, that would be great too. Okay, guys, till next time. Bye-bye for now.